Welcome to another episode of Inspire People, Impact Lives. I'm your host, Josh Kosnick, and today we have a special guest in Will Green, founder and CEO of Mentoring Positives, a youth-based program that helps to ensure our marginalized populations are getting the attention, support, and resources they need to be successful. Will, welcome to the show.
Man, thanks for having me, man.
I have a quick question. I don't see any salsa with you.
Oh, man, no doubt about it, man. I should have definitely had some of that over here so y'all could have some of that, man. But,
so we'll talk about the salsa later, but
no
I just noticed you came in empty-handed. I'm a little disappointed.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Boy, I missed that one.
All right, so before we dive in, tell the audience about a little bit about yourself, growing up, family, and how you came to be who you are today.
Yeah, man. Will Green from Gary, Indiana. Number one murder capital at the time when I was growing up there. Low income family, didn't have much. Had a loving family though. But basketball was one of those things that gave me a lot of opportunity to explore outside of Gary. So I was able to learn a lot through that game, a lot of life skills, and I was able to go to UW Eau Claire and play for Ken Anderson in the early 90s. So that's what brought me to Wisconsin, man. So nice. My wife brought me here to Madison. She's she lives in, she's from Waterloo, Wisconsin. So
yeah. And now you got a little one?
Yeah, well, I got a 17-year-old that's a junior, going to be a senior now at Madison La Follette. She plays basketball for me. And I'm the head coach over there at Madison La Follette for the girls varsity basketball team. And I got a 6-year-old, so yeah, I'm starting down that road again.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm at 9753. So, it's an interesting time, busy time, but great time.
Yeah.
And you got the span. So you got a teenage young woman that you're raising.
Exactly.
And a 6-year-old now to help come up behind. So that's great.
No doubt. It's been a good ride. The little one gets to see the teenager. She wants to be just like her. So the teenager got good values, and she's a 4.0 student. Mm. So she does a good job with being with the little one. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the girl dads, both Will and I in that category.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So before we get into the salsa,
yes, sir.
Before we get into that, how did mentors and coaches through basketball or life affect you? Because I got to imagine that effect led you to your mentoring that you're doing right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, for me, I never had a dad. I didn't know my dad for 40 years, actually. And so that's always been something that deep down inside would just kind of eat at me. Like, how would my dad not want to be around? And so I just found a love through basketball and my coaches. My coach was a very inspirational dude. He passed away about 5 years ago. I was in LA at a conference and I found out he passed away. So I caught a red eye from LA, got to Madison, got in my car, drove to Gary, Indiana, and called him right before they was putting him in the ground. So Carl Trackoff. And he just taught a lot of life skills through basketball, man. So he was a great mentor. And everything I do, even coaching today, I relay it back to all the things that he taught us. And so it just gave me the opportunity to inspire kids to be whoever they want to be. That's kind of how I grew up. And I just felt like being a supportive person, individual, especially for African-American males and females, be a positive person and be a positive light in their life. So I just use all those things that I've learned over the years to guide a lot of the kids we work with today.
That's awesome. What specifically did Coach Carl instill in you that you carry forward today?
Man, I think just being a good person, man. He always taught basketball was life, being a good basketball player in the classroom, outside of the court, all that just kind of was a combination of who you will be. And I've always believed in that. I always believed in in that. He always, it wasn't just basketball for him. I remember him getting us all he provided like a 6-8 week free camp for us in the summer. And if we went every day, we'd get shoes for free. And I knew my mom couldn't buy the shoes, so I had to make it there every day. But he made it fun. He made it engaging. He'd always get us in the huddle. He always had these games and give us $1.50 where we can go get a honey bun from Dunkin' Donuts. We look forward to that because we used to ride our bike, going from there. And he'd get us in the huddle and he'd ask us these different questions, and he'd be like, and the first one that sprouted out, he'd give him $1, and he was like, what's another name for a foot doctor? We buy podiatrist, and he'd give us that $1. So we looked forward to that every day we went there.
It's a random quiz, not even a basketball quiz.
No doubt. It was all over because, he was a teacher at the high school and he taught life skills. So his class wasn't about books. We actually went to the class and you watched the news and you had to take notes on the news and stuff. So it was really a current event type of classroom. So he was really into that. And he studied a lot of human behavior. So
yeah.
And I got my BA in psychology, so it just really translated into all the things that I do today.
Nice. So I wanted to go back to what you say. You say you grew up without a dad, and there was always this. I don't remember the exact words you used, but kind of a sinking feeling in that why. How do you carry that forward today? Because I have experiences with friends and other things like that didn't have dads, but also I have my own experiences with my dad and how he affected me positively and negatively. Mm-hmm. And so, I guess people could argue, is it better or worse to have a terrible father, but have a father, mm-hmm. or to not have a father and not know your father at all? And I guess that might be a different topic for a different day, but how did it affect you and how do you impact those now that you're really pouring into that may or may not have fathers? Or terrible role models in their life. For
sure. And you're right, man. It could have went either way, right? You have that good dad or that bad dad. You can have those experiences. I just know I missed that male figure in my life. I felt like he could have drove me more to be, I was a pretty decent basketball player, at 5'9". And so I just didn't have, I think about my coaching I give my daughter and the support that I give her through that. I missed that male side of things. And so for me, I think just growing up, not having that, it motivated me to be somebody. And even my basketball, I was often in the papers in Gary, and I used that as like, if you didn't want to be a part of my life, like you missing out on this. Mm-hmm. And so being today that I mentor a lot of kids and a lot of African-American boys that don't have their father in their life, the majority of them would say that their dad wasn't in their life. And so I just knew that I had to be this positive role model for kids. And so it is not uncommon for a kid to say I'm like a dad to them. You know what I mean, by mentoring them. And so that's a great feeling, and that, that's something that makes me feel good inside. I think it's like my deep down affirmation of what the work that I'm doing. I don't look for it. I'm a very modest dude, but it just feels good to know that they got somebody that's supporting them from the outside, and they can look at it as a father figure.
How do your own kids feel about those other kids saying, hey, you're like a dad to me? Is there any angst there, or is it all, pride? Because I could see kids in their immaturity, right? Your own kids not understanding, mm-hmm. like, wait, that's my dad, mm-hmm. right? And getting kind of possessive. Yeah. Has there been any of that with your kids, or?
It hasn't, man. we've been blessed. Me and my wife, I met her when she was 18 at Eau Claire, so we've been together almost 30 years, and so it's been a great ride, and we instill in our kids, they've been a part of this ride for us. We've been doing Mentoring Positives, this mentoring program, for 17 years, and so they just been a part of this ride. So it's kind of just been like a kind of what they do. Me and my wife did foster care too, so we did foster care for the first 5 years of my first daughter's life. So she just knew these kids was in our house that were somewhat bad. And she just knew they had difficulties. And so she's never really given us that, kind of possessive type of feelings toward the other kids. And I spend a lot of time with a lot of other kids than my kids sometimes. doing this work. I think people don't understand the sacrifice that you give when you have to mentor and be giving of yourself to the community. So, but it's been a great balance over time. I've learned to balance that out with the family and doing the work.
Yeah, that's good. I had this vision because my 3-year-old little boy, I have 3 girls and a boy. He's the youngest. And anytime I get near my wife, he pushes us apart.
Mm-hmm.
He's possessive of mom. I'm like, hold on, little buddy, that's my girl.
Yeah, like, no doubt, I was here first.
Like, in fact, you're here because that's my girl.
Yeah, no doubt. The youngest one, my 6-year-old, will, like, anytime that we show an affection, she will get in on the mix. Like, she's not having that. Like, yeah. So I get what you're saying with that, though, for sure.
It's just funny. So, what are some of the decisions and habits that set you apart from others you were growing up with? Because not having a father, finding that mentor and coach Carl, I'm sure some of your friends got lost to the streets where they were looking for that influence there. What do you think there was anything different about you, or maybe your mom, or the choices that you made that led you towards basketball and seeking positive versus seeking the role models in the streets that could lead you down some negative paths?
Oh, for sure. Speaking of coaches, I just got a call from Ken Anderson, my coach from Eau Claire today, just checking in on me. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, in Gary, Indiana, like I said, it was the #1 murder capital at the time. So I saw a lot of crazy stuff. It was a beautiful city when I was born in the early 70s. And, I just seen it degrade over time. And so there was a number of things that I could have got into. But like I said, basketball was one of those things that really it was like a drug, man. It was my drug of choice, and I just wanted to play it, and I just wanted to get good at it. I remember watching the Lakers. I love the Lakers for some odd reason. Magic Johnson and that whole Lake show during that time was just beautiful basketball, and it just brought me so much joy. So I oftentimes would not go out and party with a lot of my friends or whatever. I just wanted to get better at the game because I enjoyed the crowd calling my name, going to school and people calling my name. And I just look forward to that. And, I had an uncle that was about the same age as I am. I was older than my uncle actually. And I just seen him start to steal cars and fell into the wrong crowd. And that was after my grandmother passed away. But, life experiences that would tend to push people, that trauma tends to push people in negative ways. So I just always use pain to turn it into passion in my life. Negative situations, I've used it to overcome and be someone. I always wanted to be someone. I always wanted to, no matter what the situation was. I grew up in poverty. Sometimes we didn't have the lights on, heat in the house. And I just used it all to want to be someone. And it was just I was an old soul too. I loved listening to older people. I loved to hear their stories and where they came from. And I just took that wisdom for some reason. It's just something that was inside of me. And I hated bullies. I didn't like kids being bullied or kids feeling uncomfortable. That always bothered me. So I would find myself sticking up for kids that, was less fortunate or, somebody was, bullying. I hated that.
Did you have siblings?
Two younger brothers.
Two younger brothers. Okay. So obviously being the big brother, I was wondering if you were bullied at all by your older siblings at all as to why you turned to hate that so much.
Yeah.
But no. Okay. So that's cool. So we talked a lot about basketball and how that was a drug for you. What did it mean for you then? And what does it mean to you today, knowing that, as we get older, those skills aren't necessarily there anymore, but now you're still coaching and pouring into other kids. How to explain that dichotomy? I love the analogy, by the way, that it was your drug of choice because, obviously there's other drugs that people can get into.
Sure.
And not just drugs, but money can be a drug.
For sure.
Sex can be a drug.
Yes.
All this different stuff. But anyhow, let's off topic.
Yes, no doubt about it. It really just, like I said, I looked at it more. Carl was great at making just basketball be life, and I just look at it as life. So I translated a lot into life. And so, and a lot of the young men that I come across when I'm mentoring understand that, because they look at basketball as some easy type of profession that they can go make a lot of money. So they think they can go to the NBA. I don't kill that dream. They got a better chance of being a doctor or a lawyer. They truly do. I don't kill that dream, go for it. But I've been able to do that. And I just turned 50 on March 19th. So those skills have gone. These joints hurt. My doctor told me I can't run up and down the court no more if I want to be able to walk when I get older because of my knees. And so I've never it never was hard for me to walk away from the game. So coaching definitely fulfills a lot of me not being able to play. So I'm able to instill a lot of those life skills that I learned into a lot of the girls and boys that I coach. And the hook is the key for us. That's my motto of the program. And so I just hook a lot of kids into it, but teach a lot of life skills through it, right? Yeah. So I talk about not having a father, peer pressure, all the things that kids are going through. We get to talk about those things through that avenue. So, but it wasn't hard for me to walk away. I had a great career with it, thinking about it. After my playing years at Eau Claire, I was able to play in some tournaments, Menasha, Kaukauna, and Upper Michigan. And I got to play with Roy Boone, Charlie Wills, and Keaton Inkaville. A lot of those guys, man. We had some fun.
Tall guys.
Yeah, we had some fun, man. It was fun.
Self.
Yeah, Rod Johnson, his son is, was playing at Duke, about to enter the NBA right now, Jalen Johnson. So I've had it's been great, man.
Yeah. So I'm glad you went there, because I was going to ask you, I ask a lot of the athletes or former athletes that we have on here, did you have an identity loss or sense of identity loss when you stopped playing out of college?
I actually didn't, man. I never used the game to make that who I was. You know what I mean? The game gave me a lot of confidence to who I am as a person, as a leader. And I just used the game. Like I said, it was just fun, the competition of it. I never lost who I was. If anything, it just made me stronger as a person after the game. And I was able to detach from that basketball, because you got treated different, right? Like I went to Eau Claire, I was like the top, even though I was a young black male on that campus, because I came from a city that was 80% African American. So in Gary, Indiana, it was like you go to the hospital, you go to the stores, you see black people. So I went from the number one, 80% African American to the whitest place in America, Eau Claire, Wisconsin,
one of them,
right?
You
know
what
I mean? And so early 90s. So, but I was treated different, right? Because I was this great basketball player, you understand? So I seen how some of my friends got treated that I didn't get treated, you know what I mean? So I've always used my superior skill, that basketball, you get some kind of like dawning of this like special person. And I just used it in a good way at all times,
That's good. Well, that speaks to the values that your mother and the other people in your life that mentored you about. Because I was just telling someone that I mentor this morning that a couple different things. There's 7 deadly sins, but I think that money and power are accentuators. And we'll use your basketball fame as the power piece. So if you're a really good person and you gain power or money, you become a better person. If you're kind of a shitty person and you gain power or money, that accentuates to being a shittier person. And we see that play out in the public eye with, whether it's athletes or movie stars or whatever. And you're like, well, what happened? It's like, well, you threw a bunch of money at a person that wasn't a good person, or you threw a bunch of power at a person that wasn't a good person. And that's what we then see. And so it really speaks to those values of those people that raised you for that to accentuate and make it good. Now let's transition to mentoring positives. So what was you started at 17 years ago, but it wasn't a formalized company. It was just something you did then, right?
Right.
And then, so what made it what made the decision, or what progressed, or what kind of happened that made it like, hey, this is going to be my company?
Yeah, no doubt. I think, the biggest things, like you said, the values of my family and what they instilled in me, and that was my mom, because this whole thing, was a creation of the loss of my mom. I lost her at 46 years old to breast cancer. So I watched her take her last breath in Gary, Indiana, and it just, that experience just transformed me to come back to Madison. And her name was Muriel Pipkins. So I took the M and the P and I created Mentoring Positives. And I just needed to, that pain follows me 24/7, right? Like every minute, every second, every hour.
How old
I
were
think
you?
about her. I was 31, 32 at the time.
Okay.
So I was in my early 30s. My mom had me at 14. So she had me at an early age, and it was very traumatic, man. And I just needed to, I was working for Briar Patch. I was a supervision counselor, probation officer for juvenile delinquents. And I just felt like I needed to build deeper relationships with the kids and families I was working with. So I took my mom's initials, Muriel Pipkins, and I created Mentoring Positives. And I just started pushing that passion into the kids I was working with and mentoring. It was a LLC at first, so I just knew I wanted to take more control of my time and how I was spending time with people. And so I just started taking my own clients and creating my whole day around mentoring shifts with kids, Before I knew it, I had like 20 kids I was mentoring throughout the week, but I just scheduled my whole week just mentoring those kids, going to the museum, going to the Obrick at the Lakes, whatever the kid wanted to do. And it eventually went to a nonprofit, feeling like I could raise more monies and do more with the kids. So that's why I just knew it was something that I was going to do. And it was a lot of trials and tribulations, man. It was like, spending time with my wife. She didn't think I was spending enough time with her. We had our first daughter. I had just bought a house, quit my full-time job. She's like, you crazy. I'm like, yeah, but it's just something we had to do, man. So I just, 17 years later, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, she's right. I mean, any of us that start our own business, we're all a little crazy.
Yeah,
most people wouldn't take that risk.
Yeah.
And especially, like you said, just bought a house, just had a brand new baby. Like, that's a huge risk.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anyone can truly understand it unless you go through it yourself, what it takes to put yourself out there. And that's where, when businesses do become successful and business owners do reap the rewards, and people start judging them nowadays, I'm like, you guys don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand the fact that, hey, we maybe didn't pay our light bill because we had to pay an employee. Yeah. Maybe we forwent a mortgage payment and had to have a vulnerable conversation, a really uncomfortable conversation with the bank to be like, hey, don't foreclose on me. Give me a month.
Yeah.
Like, those are conversations the people that have just a steady job, a full-time paycheck, but not owning a business will never understand. Yep. And then you want to judge us when we become successful?
Yeah.
That's not for everyone.
It's not, man. It is not. So you are definitely right about that. And I've always had like a part-time job in the beginning. And so I've always, not only am I taking away and trying to do this Mentoring Positives, but I'm also spending time at another job. So you can imagine like the trials and tribulations of wife, daughter, this job, trying to get this thing off the ground and believe in it. But yeah, like I said, a lot of trials and tribulations, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And I do it differently because I lost my mom, and I have a different vision and passion for doing this work. When you're doing this work, it's not for everyone. They think it's easy. They see me on TV or in the paper, and people want to be that, but they have no idea the hours and no sleep that you didn't get from doing reports or whatever else paperwork and things you had to do to make this thing work.
And not just that, all the relationships. I mean, a kid that, and we didn't even get into this, you didn't say this, but I can only assume that there's some kids that you're mentoring that still get in trouble, and you got to go and have those conversations or have that disappointment like you might have failed. Like, there's so much there.
Oh, for sure. So much to unpack, man. Like, you're so right. Because all the kids don't make it. And they calling on you, and it's like, I'm a realist, I'll tell them the honest truth. I think you have to be honest in the work that I do. And, over time, you become a vet, you become skilled enough to know like, how you can keep that happy balance, that fine balance of like not getting too deep into the work and, deflecting the things that you need to deflect, to keep yourself healthy. You know what I mean?
How do you this just came to mind, but how do you wrestle with, you now are 4 years older than your mom lived?
Man, like I said, this pain, it's a pain that never goes away, right? It's like, if I can describe it, it's just like, if you think about an elephant just sitting on your heart the whole time, right? It's like this deep pain, that never goes away. Cause I always talk to my mom. We always had a great relationship. If she was here today, I didn't have to bury my mom and have this regret of being in the streets and being this disruptive child. She just knew she had to grab me off the basketball court. And I felt so good about that I didn't have that regret and have that heaviness of, wanting to tell my mom I'm so sorry or whatever. It was just a nice conversations that we had. And so, what helps me get through is that I think she's in a better place. And she struggled all the time with bills and all these things. And we don't have to talk about those things no more. You know what I mean? She's free of those stressors. And that's one thing that helps me get through. And the work that I'm doing helps me know that I'm giving back. She was a proud mama, man. She you would hear her in the crowd. And she let everybody know because, I got 2 younger brothers. One is a principal in Michigan. And my youngest brother, he does construction in Gary. And my youngest brother was the leading scorer in our high school. So they just followed my path. And I really didn't understand how important and impactful I was to my younger brothers until I got married. And they were my best men and they had to give that speech. So that let me know like how impactful I was in their life. Because sometimes you don't hear that, from your brothers. No. Even being in the same house. But that speech let me know like, wow, how impactful I was to them.
Yeah, I had 2 younger brothers. One of them works here with me, and I would completely attest to that and agree. Being the oldest brother, you have to forge your own path, and you don't necessarily, and especially you not having the father there. Like I had a father there, but we were very similar in personality. I always wanted to rebel against my father. Not as much my mom, but with my dad, the way to get me to do something if he was to instruct me was to tell me not to do that. Or what he wanted me to do, because I'm actually going to do the opposite. So, but I didn't recognize it until I was in college, and I played football at Whitewater. But I was coming back, and I was watching my youngest brother play, and I didn't know he chose to wear my number, and I was like, and he's 7 years younger than me.
Okay,
right. So my other brother's 3 years younger. We were way closer at that time because of just growing up and just closeness of age and whatnot. But I was like, it just dawned on me. It was like, he was always watching.
Yeah. My 2 younger brothers wore number 10. We all got the same tattoo, 3X10. So got the same license plates. So it's been a good ride. We all had different fathers too. But that connection through the game and growing up through that poverty, I think all wanted to make us all be successful, and knowing that they didn't get in trouble, and we all had that positive path. Like you said, they were watching, and I just didn't realize it at the time.
What's the age gap?
So I think 4 years and 7 years. Okay, so to the younger brother.
3 years and 1 day.
Yeah.
And then 7 years.
Yeah. So
once we got old enough, he started stealing my birthday. That's like as soon as it turned midnight, it was his show. I'm like, no, it's still my birthday.
Yeah, no doubt. I get a whole month for mine, man. So
you get a month?
Yeah, my birthday comes, it's like a celebration.
That's good. No, and then kids come around. And you're like, here, Dad, here's a card.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
Then the kids, it's like a show, right? So amazing. So, all right. So let's dive into more of the Mentoring Positives program. What are you doing? You've kind of talked high level, but with the kids that you guys are mentoring and doing stuff with, and this will probably lead us into the salsa. Everyone's like, "When's the salsa coming on?" What is going on? What are you guys doing on a day-to-day basis? How are you impacting them? What conversations are you having? Go a little into that more deep.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about just a basic week, COVID has definitely disrupted a lot. But I'll be back in the Salvation Army gym start next week, so I'll be able to get back in the gym with some kids. But the hook is the key. And so throughout the week, we'll have various enrichment type programs. So basketball, jewelry making, the salsa, pizza making. And once we get the kids there, we talk about not having a father. We just talk about things that the kids are going through. It can be Tupac Shakur. It can be Tony Robinson getting shot.
They're still talking about Tupac?
Yeah, man.
Good.
Still,
Good.
man. He like only one of the rappers that's in colleges being spoken about. He got a museum. So a lot of rappers don't get that kind of.
That was the first celebrity that died that I cried.
Oh, man.
I was 96, right?
Yeah.
So I was a sophomore.
Yeah, man.
And I was shook because that was my guy.
Yeah, man. He's my guy, man. He rang through my ears getting ready for basketball games, man. 91 when that Tupacalypse Now came out, all that, man. So it really just, we just talk about those things because it resonates to kids. And, we try to use that platform to engage them, get them there through the basketball, but also teach them these life skills before any basketball and anything happens. So that's what it's. The hook is the key. That's why I try to have engaging activities for the kids to come to, and then we teaching them life skills. And I just basically got into the salsa and the pizza. I went through a sustainability leadership program at Edgewood. I'm still connected to that group. And I just found out about Will Allen. He was growing urban ag in the city of Milwaukee and using parking lots and stuff to grow food. And I had an old white activist come through the neighborhood. Was like, "Hey, Will, we got to get the kids doing something." I was like, "Yeah, we do." He's like, "Let's make salsa." I was like, "Let's make salsa." And so before you knew it, I had the kids, growing tomatoes and peppers. And we was going to the Salvation Army making salsa, man. And Tim Metcalf seen us doing that. He must have caught like a news clip or something. He's like, "Will, we got to get this in the store." I was like, "Yeah, we do," and so we got it in the store, man. And we called it Off the Block because a lot of the kids was on the block in the neighborhood, and a lot of stuff happened on the block in the neighborhood, selling dope and all those things. And the kids like, "Man, let's call it Off the Block." I was like, "Let's call it Off the Block." Get yourself off the block. And then we got the tagline of "From our hood to your table." And yeah, man, it just started floating from there, man. And next thing I knew, we had it in 8 stores. It's not a business where it's like making a lot of revenue yet. I hope to get to that point. We'll have to create a business side to mentoring positives. But it's just fun to engage kids through that business model right now. They get to do this product, watch it, wrap it up and put it in the store and watch it get sold. So it's been a great thing. We started doing the pizza about 5 years ago. So I'm working with the city. They give us some funding to pay the kids through a youth employment program.
Yeah, nice.
So I can pay the kids, give them summer jobs. We do it throughout the year. And we just got the pizza in all Willie Street locations just this past December. So
nice.
Yeah, we got 8 varieties of pizza. That's probably been our most productive portion of the program right now because through COVID, it allowed us still to get in the kitchen and do the food products, stuff like that. So I look forward to getting past COVID a little bit and being able to do some of the more aspects of the work that we do with the kids.
It's like a home ec on steroids.
Yeah, man, it is, man, but it's fun, man. It's fun. I love cooking. My mom loved cooking. It was definitely a skill that I learned. So, my wife, I do all the cooking in the house. And so I felt good going off to college because I knew how to do my laundry and cook, all those things, man. That's what my parents have taught. Yeah, man, they taught me that stuff, man. I felt like a sense of pride in doing that and being able to do that. Kept my apartment clean, my room clean. It wasn't no dirty. I just wasn't taught them value. So it felt good to have them skills, man. And so I just passed them along, man.
My mom was shocked one day when I took home ec because I came home. I learned how to make crepes.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And I came home on a Saturday morning. I said, hey, I'm going to cook breakfast. She goes, what?
Yeah.
But she's just used to me pouring like 4 bowls of cereal and being done with it, right? Or she cooked something, right? But no, I cooked crepes for him one day after learning that. So it's, my wife's a phenomenal cook, so she does the majority of the cooking, but I love to grill and I love to season things. So we make a great tag team in the kitchen because she's great at just like you put 8 ingredients on the table and she's going to figure out how to make something great. Or I'm great at eyeing up like seasonings and figuring out which is going to go best and really jazz that thing up, or being on the grill. I love the grill.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed with a wonderful cook. But yeah, it's interesting what you pick up and remember. So it's exposing these kids to a variety of different things that they wouldn't be exposed to. Like you said, going down to the lake, whether it might be fishing, whether it might be on a canoe, whether it might be on a hardwood floor with a basketball, or in the kitchen, or even shop in high school. That was an interesting experience as well. Sure. Being able to use power tools under supervision, understand how to make something, how to fix something. Like just giving, because you never know if there's a spark there and they're like, oh man, I really want to do this for a living. Yeah,
we missed that in school, man. We got to get back to like some real life stuff that kids like to do. And thinking about that, I just, so we got some kids that don't even have a bank account yet. And this was just a discussion a few days ago. And I was like, we got to get them a bank account. Like, so one of my board members, he's over at Wells Fargo. And he was like, man, just bring them in, man. We'll at least talk to them, get them something. And the girls did not want to put their money in the bank, because for some odd reason, they felt like they wasn't going to be able to have access to their money. So they had no idea. I was like, no, it's not.
Because they're used to having like a physical piggy bank. Right?
They just
touch it, feel it.
It's like, no. And they were going to this cash checking place. It's like, no, they taking money from you for cashing your check. It's like, no. I was like, you can get a card. Like, you have access. It's like, for real? It's like, yeah. I was like, but those things that we can like go through life and think kids know and people know. No. But they don't
and
know.
The government knows we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you want to get into like real like conspiracy stuff, which it really isn't even that big of a conspiracy, there's a reason that only 6 states out of 50 mandate a personal finance course in high school.
Yeah, dude.
Because they want us ignorant.
Yeah.
And that spans all races.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They
want us slaves to the system. And so bottom line is, I think financial education, all this different education is really important, and even just the basics. I didn't learn about a credit card, and I had a dad in finance. And part of that is because I wasn't going to listen to him anyhow. But so that's my own fault now growing up. But I got a credit card and ran it up $1,000 before I even knew it, mostly with beer, because I got a free T-shirt for signing up for it outside my dorm room.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt.
You probably had the same thing up there.
No doubt about it.
Got a table.
I bought me a nice car.
Room.
I bought my first Skyhawk with my credit card. I was like, got it, man. And I'm like, what is this? Until I figured out, like, oh, okay.
And then you're late on a payment.
I got to clean this up. You know what I mean? So it's very important, man. And COVID has unlifted a lot of people. Like you say, it's like a lot of knowledge that this world did not teach people, and even white people, right? It's like all this history that had not been in books and taught for us to understand and recognize the struggles that we all go through. And COVID brought us together a little bit closer to understand, like, hey, it's a lot we don't know.
And this is one world. People.
Yep. Yeah.
And the easier we can recognize that and stop playing, this is a little bit of my soapbox, but I say it often, getting off this bipartisan stuff or I should say partisan stuff, where we're in identity politics and it's just causing and breeding hate amongst people. And that's what they want is frankly, they want us as far away from each other as possible so they can maintain control.
Exactly.
When we just need to realize we're more alike than they want us to think.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. I truly believe that we have to really understand like what the overall bigger plan is to like keep us disconnected because we're so much more powerful together.
The people are the power, but only when we can come together.
Exactly.
As long as they keep us separated, they retain all the power.
Exactly. No doubt about it.
I mean,
That
I
is
spent
very
6
true.
years going to D.C. learning that they're playing for the same team.
Yep.
And I'll get off that before I get in trouble. But all right. So the salsa, great. Pizza, I didn't even know about the pizza. So where can they find, where, all Willie Street
All Willie Street
co-ops?
co-ops. We only have cheese in the co-ops right now because we're still working on our license to have the meat
Other
in there.
stuff,
We
yeah.
do have a sausage and a pepperoni, so that's on our online store. So you can definitely, and it'll get delivered.
You called Off the Block as well?
It's called Off the Block as well, man. So Off the Block Pizza, and I could definitely share that link with you guys. And and we have a delivery, so they'll deliver every week.
Well, if it's even half as good as the salsa,
Man.
people need to swoop it up.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It is very tasty, man. The pizza, the sauce that we make is tasty too. So I just had a neighbor tell me she loved the distinct taste of the sauce. So
Because it's homegrown ingredients. It's right here. So
yeah, man. It's local stuff, and right now, we actually get our stuff from U.S. Foods right now, but we're looking for more local. We do our own basil, so we only have certain parts of it. Even my salsa was, we had like a company producing it for us, but right now I got the salsa coming back. We'll be making our pizza and salsa right on the north side in Feed Kitchen, man.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. Just offering more job opportunities to kids, man. So it's gonna be a beautiful thing, man. I love to do it. So
awesome. Well, we got a little bit of time left. I want to get into something that's one of my more passionate topics, and legacy. So you've talked about the legacy that your mom's left in you and how often you think about her. And I know I can just sense that in you with your kids. And what's the legacy that Will wants to leave? What's that legacy like? And hopefully it's 40 years from now, my brother.
no doubt about it.
But as you see yourself continue to grow this brand and just leave your mark on the community, what legacy do you want to leave us all?
Yeah, I think, like you said, if I'm blessed to be here 40 more years, man, it's just the fact that I feel like I've planted a lot of seeds in a lot of kids in the community. And, I think when people look back, it's just, for them to say Will was a very caring and compassionate dude that cared about people. And, relationships was really, really big in his life. And, hopefully to have, just been impactful in the kids' lives, and knowing that we love a better world for our kids and the kids that they'll have, So I've done that. I put a lot of love into my family, and I hope my kids can take those values and things that we've taught them and pass those down to those kids, because really that's all that's happened to me, is that my family has relayed those family values over the years down to us, and it's our job to make sure that we pass those along, man.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way you continue it on and continue to build, is like you said, leave the world a better place, whether it's just your tiny world and being your family, or if it's a bigger, broader something else that you feel driven by God or whatever to do. Let's all come together and do that.
Yeah.
All right. One more serious question before we get into the word game. Many, I don't even just want to say youth, but young, let's say generation Y and Z, and maybe youth beyond that, are driven by instant gratification. Many of that is set up with technology, with all our different advances. There's blessings and curses to everything.
Yeah.
How do you talk to the youth that are struggling with some of that instant gratification? Think about Michael Jordan getting cut from varsity, and instead of working his ass off to become the person and player that he did today, he's like, I didn't get what I wanted, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
How do you reconcile with youth on that instant gratification topic?
Man, I think, it's just the only way you can get to that is just having a relationship, right? You have to be able to talk kids through those types of situations, right? You have to make them understand, because I got a lot of kids that'll give up on the first try. That's just their lens. They feel stupid. They feel like that's not working for me. And so you have to have something inside of you that, especially as a coach, you have to have something inside of you that makes kids want to be better and, curb that instant gratification and be able to work for things. And so the only way that happens is you having a relationship and really trying to build off your knowledge of where you come from and kind of being, you have to be able to relate to our kids today. Like you can't be an old school type dude. You gotta be able, you gotta transfer through the time. So I was born in the early 70s. So I'm a special type of a breed, right? Like I was here before the rap music came. They said that wouldn't happen, but look at it today. And I was able to grow with that old typewriter and be able to use computers right today. So I'm that special. Like I'm that special breed. You know what I mean? So I can connect in a way that some people can't connect with. So I'm the new 50s, right? Like we are able to connect in a way that a lot of people, because baby boomers didn't connect. They scared of the computer. They didn't want to, adapt to the times. And so I had to kind of transfer through that time. So I've been able to connect in a way that a lot of people can't. So
yeah, that's good. That's a great answer. It's all about the relationships.
Yep.
All right, let's get into the word game. For the audience that might be tuning in for the first time, the word game is I will state one word, and Will's going to give back his first response to one word or short phrase. The only rule we have is that he can't repeat himself. Ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, Gary, Indiana.
Man, mama's cooking.
Basketball.
Man, Coach Carl Tragoff.
Mentorship.
Man, giving youth that power to instill themselves to be great, man.
Leadership.
Man, driving people to be the best that they can be.
Patience.
You got to have that in life, man, because if you don't, you can have a tough time.
All right, poverty.
Man, lived through it and overcame it.
Mom.
Man, special soul, beautiful, beautiful soul.
Mentoring positives.
Man, giving life to every kid and family that I meet in this community, man.
Yes, you are. Last two, inspire.
Man, inspire is something that you need to get up and do every day.
Impact.
Man, impact is a word that makes me think about impacting people to their fullest potential and having a lasting effect on people.
Good. All right, last couple things. Favorite book of all time or one you most recently read you want to shout out?
The one I most recently read would be, I would have to say, that's hard because I'm getting 50 years old right now. What is the name of that book? I can't think of it right now, but it's a really good book. Oh my gosh.
Well, we'll come back to that.
Definitely.
Any favorite podcasts you listen to?
Favorite podcast, I would say the last one that I've listened to was probably, it was one on leadership, actually. And I'm sorry for not having the titles of these podcasts, but I'm getting old, man. Oh, man.
You're all good. All right. How does the audience get in touch with you if they want to support, they want to follow you in the good work that you're doing? What's the best way for them to do that? Man,
the best way to get a hold of us is www.mentoringpositives.org. People can send us a message through the website. Definitely go to our Facebook page, Mentoring Positives Facebook page. You'll see a lot of updates and things like that for us. And if you wanted to support, you can do that directly through the website also. If you wanted some products, you can go to offtheblock.store and you can order some of those products and those can get delivered to your home too. So.
Or hit up Metcalf's or Willie Street Co-op.
Hit up Metcalf's, Hilldale, Westtown, and Willie Street Co-ops, all locations, east, west, and north, and Regent Street Market on the west side over here. So yeah, man.
Well, thank you for all the great work that you're doing in our community. And thanks for spending the time today. It's been an awesome conversation. We jumped all over the place, but it was fun.
Yeah, man. It's been great, man. I appreciate the time to speak on everything we talked about today.
This is good. Well, I really appreciate the time. I know I've known you. I don't want to say that, but experienced you from afar. And it's been great to get to know you over the last hour much better. This has been a lot of fun for me. Impact, hearing about your mom, the basketball was your drug. Like, that's a great analogy because you can choose good things as your drug as well.
No doubt.
So I hope that our audience got as much out of this as I do. I don't hope. I know they will. This is a great conversation,
no doubt, man.
So thank you for all that you're doing. And everyone, as you're listening, as you go about your week, make sure you're impacting people in a positive manner, just like Mr. Will Green.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks.